Hi everyone, and welcome back to the LINA BHUDIA podcast. Make sure to subscribe, like, and hit that notification button so you know every time I upload. So, it's all kicked off in the beauty community on YouTube again. Drama surrounding Tati, James Charles, Shane Dawson, and Jeffree Star once again has peaked, with Tati's latest upload titled Breaking My Silence. So when I saw that she'd posted and was trending along with Shane, my initial thought was, oh, here we go. I thought it would be just another onslaught of words, maybe an apology or I don't know, just more accusations. And at this point, what's real, what's not? Are they working together to keep themselves in the limelight? The timing of the video, Tati's video, that is, it's it's just the timing of it being right behind Shane facing all of this backlash seems to be a little bit convenient. But as she opens her video, it seems to me that this isn't an opportunistic video. Straight away, she's talking about legal. She's talking in legal terms. She's talking about receipts. She's talking about getting to the bottom of this. Like, this is real. Damage has been done, and she's going to fix it before any more damage can be done. So firstly, I have to comment on how beautiful she looks in the video. She's so glowy in a really lovely, natural way. I also really liked the Peace t-shirt she had on. Even though she's in the middle of possibly one of the biggest dramas to go down on YouTube, she's got this Peace t-shirt on, which really resonates with kind of everything that's just going on in her life, the message that she's trying to portray throughout the message, everything going on in the world right now. And she's there wanting peace, just to close all of this off. It was a really subtle touch, but I noticed it. So she gets emotional straight away and lets us know that she's going to be reading from a script which has been approved by her legal team. And already I'm like, whoa, legal team? Like, what? She's not messing around. She's ready. And yeah, I like that she read from a script. She's thoughtfully put effort into the message that she wants to send out. She's going to be articulate and she's going to say everything that she wants to, what she can say. Because if she's going to take a legal route, there's going to be some things that she'll need to stay quiet on right now until she's decided if she wants to take full legal action. But the script, I think, just ensures that she stays on track and doesn't ramble or get caught up in her emotions, because she is very emotional all throughout the video. But the script just kind of keeps her on track and she just says what she needs to say. She gets her point across, and I liked that. Before this scandal, Tati was basically unproblematic. And as far as scandals go, this one was and still is actually major. And she mentions how she now has a poisoned reputation, which I think is something that's a big deal for her because she comes across as someone who wants to be dignified and doesn't want to be tarnished. And possibly if she does decide to take the legal route, damage to thy reputation, financial impacts, impact to health, which she touches upon in the video, will possibly be the route that she takes as part of her case if she chooses to do that. So she does acknowledge that she played a role in the scandal. I mean, let's face it, it was her video that started the public scandal. And she apologises for the video and also makes a point to publicly apologise to James Charles. James Charles? James Charles. um, she's already apologized to him in private, but she says that she wanted to make sure that there was also a public apology. And it sounds like they've both forgiven each other and come to a realization that perhaps she's been used to bring James, that is, down. And James actually, she said, wanted to be in her video with her, but she wanted to do it alone on her terms because actually her very first apology in the video is to him. And she looks directly into the camera when she says it. And she doesn't just say, I'm sorry, loosely, whilst talking about him. She actually directed it at him and says, I'm sorry, James, which I think the way people put their words together is important, and the words that they choose is important. So just I'm sorry is different to I'm sorry, James. She's actually directing him, do you know what I mean? Rather than just talking about him. It was heartfelt, and that came across, I think. So with their friendship, she describes it as she kind of being his mentor, I guess. You know, he's very young and he's gained a lot of success very quickly. And so I think she almost took a motherly kind of looking out for him kind of role. And she talks about how he makes mistakes but has the ability to grow from them. But over time, as kind of their friendship progressed, she was growing more and more frustrated with him and felt that he was becoming entitled and making decisions that could harm him and or his career. But her concerns about him only grew, and I think she used the word overwhelming. They grew overwhelmingly, or something like that, she said, after she met Shane. She says that accusations were made to her about James by Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star. And the vitamin situation was simply the breaking point for her as she felt betrayed by James. But the accusations and the kind of cause for concern was already there. So it's interesting that she mentions that Shane and Jeffree kind of worked her up, but also mentions that other people were involved too, but doesn't say who. So yeah, that sparked some interest for me because so far the scandal has mainly revolved around Tati, James, Shane and Jeffree, but now it sounds like maybe there were other people involved as well. She acknowledges that she foolishly believed the lies that were being told to her and that she should have reached out to James directly, but instead she allowed Shane and Jeffree to kind of come between her friendship with James, who, by the way, James did Tati's makeup on her wedding day. So they really have some fond memories together. He's played a big role in her life, and she in his as his mentor. So this is a very close bond that's been broken and needed to be healed again, which isn't easy, especially when everything is so public, with everyone's opinions weighing in on top of what was already a fragile situation. So when Tati gets to Jeffree, she talks about him as someone who she believed or perceived that he wanted to change from his troublesome past. I kind of get the feeling with Tati that she's almost drawn to troublesome people and has a desire to fix people when she sees them as being broken. She wants to be an example to them. And I think she probably feels that she failed with Jeffree, even though she feels that she tried hard. She tried to get him involved in a charity that's close to her heart and kind of wanted to help empower him so that he could become a good person. So I'm not sure if that's played out the way she wanted it to. It doesn't sound like it did. She doesn't really describe them as being friends. It kind of sounds like they were more just acquaintances who spent limited time together in face-to-face interactions, but was more so over texting and calls and video calls. And she also pointed out that he usually makes contact with her when he was involved in some kind of a drama or had a launch coming up. So it kind of comes across as though she was his go-to person when he needed something, almost like a business transaction, which I've heard about him a few times. I've heard that he kind of wriggles his way into people's lives, takes what he needs, and then just disappears. So a lot of this sounds like very bitchy, very catty behaviour. And I guess when it's on such a public platform, things can escalate really quickly. But what's really concerning, I thought, was how Tati says that she feels the need to up her security, how she's had to move locations, how she's collating information and sharing it with very few people, almost in the hope that it leaks in a way to protect herself. She mentioned how she also got so mentally and physically drained that she couldn't pursue fertility treatment, which is just heartbreaking, especially when she comes across as a natural nurturer with motherly tendencies, which is already shown in how she wants to look after James and be his mentor and help Jeffree. Like, she's a naturally very caring person. That's where her mindset is. She wants to help, she wants to take you under her wing. So, no, just a real motherly nature about her, and it's a shame that this has had such a big and very real impact on her, not just on her public persona, but also personally in her life. So Shane went live on his Instagram and voiced his opinions as he watched the video, which I don't think he should have done. I think he came across, to me anyway, like a very panicked man. Now, if you had a video where these types of accusations were coming out about you, you would be panicked, of course you would. But I don't think he did a very good job in kind of disproving anything that she was saying. He was just kind of just going, oh my God, what the fuck, what the fuck? Like, it was just an array of words. And, he might come out with his own responsive video once he's calmed down and is able to articulate himself better. But the live Instagram really should not have happened, I don't think. And what I picked up on, especially, which a lot of other people also commented on, was the way that he rolled his eyes when she said that she had experienced abuse in the past, and then he called her a manipulator, literally like just days after he basically explained his past mistakes away because he's experienced abuse. That just came across as hypocritical, or maybe him thinking that his abuse is worse than hers, so he's more justified. I don't know. I just don't think he should have done the live, and I don't think he came across very well. Jeffree Star, interestingly, has stayed very quiet. He also stayed quiet during the backlash toward Shane that was happening just before Tati's video came out, and he's made no immediate response to her video either, which is quite strange. I mean, they've all been friends or acquaintances at least at one point or another, and there's very little to say. He and Shane are supposed to be quite close. They've collaborated together. They have the conspiracy palettes that they've released together. You'd think that he would have his back a bit more, as in Jeffree would have Shane's back a bit more, but he doesn't seem to. He doesn't seem to have said anything, in fact. But apparently he's the one with the receipts on other creators and could destroy them and is apparently manipulating people. I think his response would actually be the one to watch, in my opinion, more so than Shane's. Just because it sounds like he's possibly got a bit more to say, and even Tati in her video predicts that he is going to blow off and wanted to warn people to be prepared for that and to be prepared to forgive and not jump on the cancel bandwagon. So it kind of sounds like Jeffree Star, is very powerful and has a lot on a lot of people, and it's just a matter of time as to when he will release all of that and how he does it. Like, will he find another pawn to use the way he did with Tati, or will he just come out and release it all himself? Who knows? So I think ultimately what lays here is, are the things that Tati says Shane and Jeffree told her about James true? Currently, it sounds like the things that she was told are not true. In which case, Shane and Jeffree need to respond and clear things up. And either say, we didn't say that, or come out and say that they have said that and here's the proof that they have to back what they've told her. You know, and I think some people, like, one of the things that was said about James is that he's abusive to minors. You know, unless the victims want to come out themselves, I don't think it's right for other people to do it. And I think that was the point that Tati was trying to make. She didn't want to say things in her last video because it's not her place to. And I think her past with her abuse kind of helps her see that a bit better. So I guess it's just a case of, are they going to release the receipts on what they have, or is Jeffree Star prepared to absorb the hate to protect the alleged victims? In which case, you can't walk around telling people that you have all of these receipts. You're either going to share them or you're not. But if you're not, then just leave it alone and let the victims deal with it the way that they want to. It's not for you to put out there. But I mean, that's a side that I think Jeffree has a real story to tell, and I don't think kind of throwing lots and lots of hate. I know he's got a really shady past, and there's lots that you can't really trust him. Just a feeling that you can't trust him because he comes across as a manipulator. But I do think he needs to come forward and say his bit on this, so he can't later on come around and say that everyone just kind of ganged up on him and he didn't get a chance to say. He does have a chance to say, and I think he's the one that's probably got the most to say in response to Tati's video. So I think what he does next will be really, really interesting. But Tati clearly wants to get to the bottom of why they told her these things, and she believes, and she said it in the video, she believes that it's all just come from a place of jealousy because James's career was taking off so incredibly fast and they didn't want to be in his shadow, especially with Shane and Jeffree releasing their own conspiracy palette right around the corner, and James apparently wanting to start his own documentary, which would have stepped on Shane's toes. So they just wanted to get him out of the way for their own success, is what she thinks. So she said that she's currently kind of in the process of gathering evidence. She's gathering evidence, you guys. Like, she's putting the pieces together so she can understand what's happened. And that's not something that you do if you've fabricated anything or created anything. She's a woman on a mission, and her mission is to get to the truth. So, yeah, I mean, the follow-up to this will be really interesting. I just hope collectively that they don't ruin the social media YouTube platform for other creators who just want to create content and do so in a non-problematic way, because this scandal right here is probably going to turn out to be one of the biggest scandals to hit YouTube, involving 4 major players, big influencers on YouTube, who have clashed, who have allegedly told lies, who have allegedly behaved in inappropriate ways, and it's led to some very frightening thoughts from the individuals in terms of how safe they are and how safe they feel, and the impact that it's having on them and their livelihoods. So specifically Tati here, because she's the only one that's really spoken out about it. But like I mentioned earlier, the whole not feeling safe, feeling the need to move, kind of what did she say? She said that she had released information to very few people just in case anything happened to her. Like, there's just that mindset isn't very healthy, and the fact that she wanted to have a baby but didn't feel physically and mentally able to have a pregnancy. That, I mean, that's scary. That's worrying, and it's all happened on this platform. So I do wonder what the impact of this will be to the platform overall. And I just hope it doesn't affect other creators who want to create their content without any dramas or scandals. And so yeah, that's basically the lowdown to her video. There's a lot more that she said. It was a 40-minute video. You can see how emotional she gets. I'll leave a link to her video below in the description box, because it is very interesting what she says, and definitely something to keep an eye on and see what comes of it. And also, just even when you're not involved in the scandal yourself, sometimes there's a lot of lessons that you can learn from other people's scandals. And I think the one from this, which she also points out, is be careful with who you trust, and be careful with letting your guards down, and follow your own gut's feelings. Don't just believe everything that everyone else tells you. Do your research. Don't just go ahead and cancel people just because other people lead you to the illusion that they deserve to be cancelled, because it can have really big impacts and effects, and it might not be true. So that's the lowdown so far on her video. We'll see what happens next. Like I say, I'll leave the link to her full video below, and all of the AdSense is going to a charity that's very close to her heart, which she also mentions in the video and is linked in the description part of her video, which I thought was a good touch from her. Like, she's not making any money out of this, but she's bringing awareness, and she's doing a good thing by giving the money to a charity in the process, which I thought was great. So that's the lowdown, and we'll see what happens next. Until next time, see you guys. Bye.